There's a rally in Midtown this afternoon pushing for a public inquiry into the Eglinton Crosstown LRT. A source tells CTV News the long-awaited line could open next Sunday, and the province isn't denying that, but the TTC isn't confirming it. For more on this, we're joined live by CP24's Andrew Brennan, who's live at the rally. Tell us what's going on.
Well, Arda, right now we have people going across Eglinton with flyers demanding a public inquiry and essentially asking the government why $13 billion and almost 15 years. Well, it's more than that, but if you're going by the day where we first put shovels in the ground, that's November 2011, so 14 years. But essentially asking why it's taken this long, why it's cost this much, and why there ultimately still is no LRT that's operating right now, even if we do have sources saying that February the 8th is a go, even if it's a gradual open. But to understand how much of a problem this has been for people that have lived through construction, lived through the challenges of the growth, and also the closures of businesses and watching their communities essentially have just a lot of challenges, I better not even have to describe it. I'll get someone else to. So Anyika Mark is with the Little Jamaica Land Trust. We appreciate you joining us today. And thank you for what you were saying before, jumped out at me. It made me want to ask you to spend some time with us live now. What's it been like for folks in the community, but then also you were talking a little bit about just even trying to, just even getting here. It was a fashionably late situation.
Yes, yes, I think.
Was it transit related?
A little bit transit related, unfortunately. And I think we're working on that as much as we can. But I think that was one of the beauties and the hopes with the Eglinton LRT line, right? Is that there was this incredible provincial investment. We were going to get better transit, more efficient transit, more accessible transit in the neighborhood, and we've yet to see that. And I think a lot of business owners in Little Jamaica are kind of waiting to see, like, can we get that transit, that access that we were really hoping for, and we waited a really long time for. I would say that Eglinton doesn't have the same feel that it used to, right? It used to be a neighborhood people wanted to be in, and now when you ask people, oh, do you want to go to Eglinton? It's, oh, the congestion, and I don't know if I want to get up there. And this is kind of the social and cultural impacts that a construction line like this has, right? And then the multiple delays, it's this year after year not wanting to come to a neighborhood that's provided people with so much cultural value. I remember growing up in the city of Toronto, being a young Caribbean person, understanding what it means to be a Caribbean person from Little Jamaica, right? And I would say just the entire, like, our small business and our main streets are so important to a character of what a city is and what a neighborhood is to people. And so I think that's, some of the biggest loss. And, with the public inquiry, it's really about addressing the roots. We want to know what's going on. We want to know what's happened over the years. And with some of that empirical evidence, maybe we can start to bring the province to the table and have some conversations about harm and repairing harm that's been done.
And you talked a little bit about the hope that seemingly was there, before the crosstown, when it was being proposed. Trying to, I don't like using words like revitalize a community, because what arguably would not have to be revitalized from anything.
Exactly.
But this was a big thing. We're talking about, good forms of gentrification, getting more, having a subway line, or essentially any line, would bring just more dollars to businesses and otherwise. Do you think people are still hopeful that that will happen, or do you think that this past 15 years has dwindled the hope to maybe nothing?
Absolutely. I think one of the beauties about our community, I think people in the city of Toronto, but I'll speak specifically for Little Jamaica, is that we're resilient, right? And people have been waiting. They've been waiting for the line to open. And I think to your exact point, I don't even think it's about the gentrification. I think this is what we're calling for but we don't want displacement in our communities. We want people that have lived there, that have survived this construction, that were there before the construction, to be able to reap the benefits from, again, a really incredible investment in our city from our province, right? I think it's all about trying to figure out ways for people to stay, to continue to make culture, to continue to bring business, and to live there. This is, I think, really the mandate and why the Little Jamaica Community Land Trust exists, is we want people to stay. We don't want people to be displaced. We want them to stay.
We've heard from other people that represent either businesses or otherwise in Little Jamaica that this is a time that's it's a state of emergency right now. How would you describe what your neighbors are going through because of the crosstown? They've called it a boondoggle. The people here called it a boondoggle. Well, for the sake of not editorializing, we'll call it a kerfuffle right now.
Yes, I think people, again, They want to be able to work with our province, work with our city around tangible solutions on being able to stay. Displacement is huge. You go to the neighborhood right now, people have been forcibly evicted. There's vacant storefronts all over the place. There's not a lot of businesses being able to rent. We've had some really incredible successes. I know that Superlicious came to the neighborhood recently, an incredible launch. We want to see more of that energy, bringing more of that back to Little Jamaica. But again, I think people have been resilient, but I think that they've waited long enough. I think they've been patient long enough. And again, I would absolutely love for the Premier and the province to come and start having conversations with people in the city so that they can really address some of the harms that the line has caused over the years.
Anyika, thank you very much for having this conversation with us now.
Thank you.
And I look forward to more conversations in the future.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you. And thank you for running back to get here on time. That's even more important. So Anyika is among many perspectives we got from people today, either those that live in Little Jamaica, Arda, some people that are coming from the East End. Mike Cole, one of the city councillors, talking about when he was back on the TTC's board and how little seemingly has been done since the first proposal for a subway on Eglinton in the 90s. So disregarding the historical reality of how long there's been people waiting for some form of transit on Eglinton that's not a bus. Ultimately, though, what you're hearing from people today and what we've heard from people like Anyika, there are those that are struggling right now because they thought that this would be done sooner. Their lives have been turned up and actually dug up in some cases, quite literally seeing the storefronts not having access to their basements in some cases, losing out on actual storefronts in some cases during construction. It's been a long time for a lot of these businesses, and at this point, they also have city councillors helping them in this push, seemingly for a public inquiry, or at least ultimately some form of answers. I'll send it back to you for now. The protesting does continue, by the way. They're walking with those leaflets along Eglinton as we speak.
Thank you so much for this, Andrew.